Helen's abduction from ancient Sparta and Renaissance Vilnius.
Let's talk about two Helens. The first was the mythical queen of Sparta. After she was abducted from her palace, the Trojan War broke out, but she's less important to us for the moment. The second Helen was the daughter of the Grand Duke of Moscow. She lived 500 years ago and was the wife of the ruler of Lithuania, Alexander Jagiellon. She also caused a war because she too was abducted. The Helen from Moscow learned while still a child that her father had decided to marry her off to the ruler of Lithuania. When the time came, she arrived in Vilnius, danced at her wedding, and lived her life quietly. But because she was Orthodox, the Catholics in Vilnius called her a heretic, which is why she wasn't crowned queen when Alexander became king of Poland. But Helen was more concerned about her gold, jewelry, and expensive robes. Say what you want about her, but she knew how to acquire wealth. But then something bad happened. Helen's husband died. The childless 30-year-old widow soon found life in Vilnius to be pure torture. Even worse, her own brother, the Grand Duke of Moscow, was then at war with Lithuania. Vasily III tried everything to lure his sister to Moscow. Getting her there would be no problem, but how would he get Helen there together with all of her riches? Wealth that was stored at the Bernardine Monastery, by the way, which then resembled a small fortress with strong walls, arrow slits, and towers. Emissaries from Moscow even hatched a secret plan. Helen would escape with all her riches to Bratslav, a city in present-day Belarus, and from there to nearby Moscow. But the Lithuanians learned of the conspiracy and decided to abduct Helen, almost like the Trojans 2,000 years before. 5 noblemen found Helen praying in an Orthodox church, placed her into a sleigh and brought her to Trukai. From there, she was taken even further away, to JUSTINAS, and from there to SCREENPLAY. She was told diplomatically, the lords and the king were concerned that your royal highness might do something frivolous. Soon enough, the ruler of Moscow once again declared war on Lithuania. Much like the Spartan king Menelaus, who fought against Troy to avenge his wife's abduction. Who knows how things might have ended if not for the sudden death of the widow Helen. Back then, there was talk that she was poisoned, but for the Lithuanians, it was more important that Helen's riches remain in Lithuania. We might suspect that the friars protecting her wealth were familiar with the old saying that big money can bring big problems. So they decided to surrender Helen's treasures to Sigismund the Old upon his arrival in Vilnius. 14 enormous chests in total. 2 carriages were needed, and the cargo was so heavy that each carriage had to be pulled by 8 horses. The contents of the chest sound like something from those jokes about nouveau riche Russians. One held gold bullion and chains, another had 400 rings and 4 pairs of shoes studded with diamonds and gems. The third contained 30 smaller boxes of various sizes with gold and jewelry inside each of them. Eventually, Duchess Helen's gold and silver ended up at the mint. It's almost a sure thing that some of the new coins were paid to mercenaries joining the ranks of the Lithuanian army. The same army which defeated the forces commanded by Helen's brother Vasily at the Battle of Orsha.